There it is, ladies and gents. Ooh. Yeah, we got that energy. We're ready to go. Another episode of the Business Bros, and we're ready to rock this thing. Here we go. Let's get started.
Okay. Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business and social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business Bros.
All right, here we go. Hand time to drop some heat.
Here we go. All right, all you business pros out there. Before we jump into the show, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, drop a review, help other like-minded business owners find value from our awesome guests while we rise up in those podcast rankings. We'll sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it, and if you want to be a guest on the show, we'd love to have you on to learn from you as well. Go to www.businessbros.biz, schedule your time slot, don't forget to follow us on all our social medias at Business Bros Pod. All right, everybody, we're so excited and so honored to bring yet another incredible guest to the Business Bros Pod. Today's guest has an extensive background in business management, accounting, and finance, and for more than 30 years, he's been coaching business owners to achieve tremendous business and personal growth. Our guest learned early on that he needed to take charge and get things done, and through his career, he's worked with over 300 organizations, not just here in the U.S., but all around the globe to do the same thing. So no matter where in the world you find yourself building a business, he can help. He's helped companies discover the purpose of their business, lay out their marketing plans, create systems to monitor profits, and put processes in place to solidify and strengthen everything from the hiring process to analyzing marketing efforts. If this sounds like what you need in your business, tune in to learn more from a coach who will help you raise the bar in your life and business. Joining us today from Purpose, Plan, Profit out of Vero Beach, Florida, welcome to the show, Jeff Earlywine.
That's great. That's what
All right, Jim. Welcome to the program, man. Are you having fun already?
I'm having a blast. I don't even know what I need to say now after that introduction. What an introduction, man. That was wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
It's funny. I always wonder what the guest is thinking. They're like, man, that guy sounds amazing.
Yeah.
He's talking about me. All right, man. Well, let's jump into this. You've been very knowledgeable, a lot of experience in the business space. If I'm just getting started at the very beginning, it's graduation season. So literally we had a bunch of graduations this week. My students graduated high school, they're entering life, and there's this doubt in their mind. Like, I don't exactly know what I'm supposed to do next. What kind of advice do you give those youngsters getting started?
Well, if they're graduating from high school, go to college. And then when you get done with college, get a real degree, get some real education. I know that sounds really blunt, but I'll just be transparent with you guys. And probably a lot of your listeners are probably going to identify with this. I didn't like school. I cheated my way through high school. I went to college for one reason. My girlfriend went to college. She was smart. I wasn't. How in the world she hooked up with me, I don't know. But she went. I thought, well, if I'm going to be around her, I got to go. And when I got to college, I realized, you know what? If I'm going to pay for this, I'm not going to cheat anymore. I'm going to learn something. And so I really applied myself. And then when I got out of college, I realized there was a lot more to learn about business. A lot more. And so, that introduction, and I'm thinking, man, that guy he does sound pretty cool, but he also sounds a little bit old. I mean, gosh, he's been working with hundreds of organizations in 30 years. This dude's ancient. What in the world? Why would somebody that's in their 20s listen to a guy like me? But I can tell you this much. If you listen to a guy like me, you're probably going to not make those same mistakes that I made back, many years ago when I got out of college. And I'm like, all right, I want to do something. I want to graduate. I want to get out in the business world. I want to be an entrepreneur, all those kind of things. I want to be able to make enough money to where I can retire and have money for my family and have some fun and all those things. And then I really had to go to learn. I had to go to work and I had to go to learn. And, there's a lot to learn in business. And most people don't learn it in a textbook. I learned it from mentors. I learned it from reading a lot of books. I'm a real heavy reader. I read 24 books a year. I could take you back 10 years ago and tell you what I've read. I'm a little bit organized, I guess, but it's what helps me to be successful. It helps my clients be successful too.
Would you consider failure experience?
Failure is a great experience. Failure is a first attempt in learning, right? I thought that was a great analogy for failure. And I'm going to push back a little bit on the college plan. When you and I went to college, it was way less expensive, right? It was much more manageable over time. Today, when people are going to college, they're walking out of that thing with a huge mortgage. The kids that are in my class tend to be the ones that didn't do too hot in high school. The school system didn't work out for them. And so the pushback I always give with them is look, college is an option. It's not the only option, but what you also emphasized here was the value of experience. If you're not going to go to college, if you're not going to go to that 4-year university, that's fine. It doesn't mean that you don't stop with your education, and it doesn't mean that you don't go into something that you want to learn, chase a skill, and get better at something. What do you think about that?
You're exactly right. You don't have to go to college. I mean, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Great example of somebody that didn't go to college and then somebody that did. They kind of compare the two. You don't have to go to college to be successful. I think college education opens up a lot of doors. But hey, you can get out of high school or don't even get out of high school and have a dream, have drive, and go out there and make it happen. I can tell you one thing I would do. This is free advice. If I were to go back and do it all over again, I probably still go to college because my girlfriend went, but I would get me a job selling cars. Mm-hmm. It's got to be one of the harder things to sell. I would have really learned how to sell a lot better, sell a product, how to communicate, how to relate. It took me a long time to learn all those things. So I think if I could go back in time, I'd probably do that. I'd have a lot of fun doing it. I'd probably make some good money. I could probably work a good schedule around my classes and all that. But that's one thing. That's free, but that's definitely what I would do. But if
Yeah.
If they don't want to go to college, it's not their thing. Why do I get that? So it's okay. Find some mentors. One of my mentors, a guy named John Maxwell, he wrote a book called Failing Forward. And, get that book and read it because failure is a great teacher. Believe me, I'm not going to toot my own horn here, but I'm somewhat intelligent. It's because I failed a lot. I screwed up a lot. And now I can get the opportunity to help business owners, whether they're a startup business or they've been in business for 40 years. I get the opportunity to work with them and guide them through some of these things because I've screwed up a few things.
I'm 100% behind you. The failure, the act of failing means you've taken initiative, you've taken action. My Instagram post this morning was, I was talking about the fact that we're so focused on what other people think about us that it really limits us ever taking any action. So many people will wait till, the stars line up and their product is absolutely perfect and they got their pitch down, till it's absolutely the way they want it. And what ends up happening is they keep waiting to someday in the future take some sort of action, and you look back 5 years down the road and all of a sudden you're in the same spot you were at the beginning because you never actually did anything. You thought about it, you plan to at some point in the future, but you never actually took the risk. And it's probably because you were worried about what mom thinks, what your teachers think, what your friends think, what your significant other thinks. You were so worried about that judgment that you wouldn't accept the risk. And you couldn't see that the reward was much greater, even though you knew you would fall flat on your face a couple times. Think back to when you were in college and you were getting ready to get started. How did you overcome that fear of judgment or that fear of failure?
I had a dream. I knew I wanted to do something. My life purpose is to equip people and organizations to reach full potential. Equip people and organizations to reach full potential. That's what I love to do. That's my drive. That's what gets me out of bed. And you'll see there on the bottom of the screen, purpose, plan, profit. The purpose part is, what is your dream? What are the goals? What is the why that drives you and gets you out of bed, gets you motivated every day? If you don't know what that is, go to that website, and up in the top right corner is a box that says click for a free coaching session. Fill it out, and let's jump on the telephone. Let's jump on a video conference, and let's talk about what is your purpose. Now you might go, well, I know I want to be an entrepreneur, and I want to sell this product, or I want to develop this, or I want to, be this kind of person, or have this kind of skill set, or offer this offering. Okay, well, maybe we need to talk about the plan. What is your marketing plan to get that out there, to get people to, that is your ideal customer, your ideal client. Let's get that in front of them. So let's create that plan. And then if you figure, well, I know what my purpose is, I know what my plan is, well, then you got to have a way to monitor your profit. That's why the website's called Purpose, Plan, Profit. And if you're not monitoring your profits, which quite frankly, most business owners don't have a clue how to do. They just look at the bank account and say, well, it's growing, I guess we're doing okay. Well, maybe not. And maybe it's not growing like it should. Or they look at their profit and loss statement, their P&L, and look at the bottom immediately and go, well, we made money. Well, that doesn't mean you pay taxes. That's all that meant. So let's really analyze profit to make sure that you're achieving what you want to achieve. And actually, there's 2 more P's, but you got to go to the website to see what those are.
Well, let's break down the 3 that you have there. Let's really break down the purpose. When we talk about a purpose, it's funny because I always find it in 2 different ways. I think our purpose in life as human beings is to be of service to other people. Our business's purpose is to make a profit. And I think oftentimes we kind of get mixed up in chasing that almighty dollar as a human being, and it doesn't necessarily drive us to wake up in the morning. It doesn't necessarily drive us to pick up that book and learn something new. It doesn't necessarily push us in that direction, because our human purpose is different than our business's purpose. When you talk about purpose, let's really kind of focus in on that. How are you getting people to really figure that part out? Are we focusing on, as a human being, to get them to that point where they know exactly why they wake up in the morning? Or are we talking about our business specifically?
Well, people own businesses. So it's not the business running itself, it's people running a business. And so if you know what your purpose is, of why you have a business that is an electrician or a plumber or an attorney or a doctor, or you want to open a restaurant or whatever it may be, that's the purpose of that business. That's also your purpose. I've worked with thousands and thousands of people in my career, and I've had a wonderful opportunity to do so. The thing I've discovered is sometimes the problem lies between these 2 things. Mm-hmm. It's our stinking thinking. It's the limitations that we put on ourselves. We may have a great idea, but if we put limitations on ourselves, our business is going to really struggle. So we've got to really get that purpose down, like get it on paper. What is your main goal? What do you want to see happen? And then after that, how do you know it's happening? And let's review that on a weekly or a monthly basis to make sure we're making progress towards that. Once we're doing that, we're on the road to doing it. It's not about money. I mean, yeah, we want to make a profit, but let's focus on accomplishing the goal. If it's a restaurant, let's focus on getting more, forgive me, but butts in the seat, people through the door, orders of food. And let's concentrate on that, because if you do that and you do it really well, better than the competition all the way around, you're going to make money, unless your pricing's off, which that'll come up in the profit part. So we'll figure that out. But you're going to make money. You're going to have the accomplishments that you want.
I like that.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Exactly. That's a great math right there. 60% of the time it works every time. When kids are kind of getting into this space and they're trying to develop their process and they talk to someone our age, we have a different set of priorities in our life than, the 18 to 25-year-old kid who's just getting started. They don't have kids. They don't have a spouse. They hardly have some of the freedoms that you and I have had for the last few years. When you're talking about developing this purpose for them, can it shift, right? Can it move as our life priorities change as well?
Absolutely. When I first went to college, I was a computer science major. Why was I a computer science major? Because a friend of mine he was a good-looking guy, had a good-looking wife. He wore fancy clothes. He drove a hot-looking car. He was a computer science geek. Hey, that works for me. My girlfriend kind of liked that. Good. Well, I got to college and I found out those classes are hard. Now, I double majored, double minored, so I don't know. I screwed all that up. But accounting is not any easier. That was one of my main majors. But I switched to accounting. So, my life has taken a lot of turns and going down different kinds of forks in the road. My background's like vegetable soup, which helps me be a great coach. But there's one thing that probably no one listening, you go to college or you don't. You get every book you can find or you don't read it ever again. There's one thing that's probably they're not going to learn, and that's how to run a business. Mm-hmm. And you think, well, how in the world do you learn to run a business? Well, you could spend a lot of money. You could hire an attorney, a CPA, a business coach. You could hire people like that. Business coaches usually do things a whole lot different than the accountant, and the accountant does things a whole lot different than the attorney. That's where we all fit. But if you go to Purpose Plan Profit, we have a small business academy that we just drastically dropped. It was $297 a month to be in this, to get a full year of education, $300, $297, less than $4,000. You basically have an MBA type education in your business. That's pretty good, $4,000. We just dropped it to $197 for the whole year. And I throw in a coaching session that you can get right away, or you can get it at the end, or anywhere in the middle. Well, that's if you just try to buy that from me, that's hundreds of dollars. So the purpose is, we want to make money. Everybody wants to make money. But I want to help people. Remember, my vision and my mission in life is to equip people and organizations to reach full potential. So those people graduated from high school and have a dream. They graduated from college and they have a dream. Or maybe somebody's listening and they're 30, 40, 50 years old and they failed out. And they went bankrupt. The pandemic screwed them all up. And now it's like, what do I do? Well, enroll in that small business academy. If you don't like it, you don't have to keep doing it, just cancel it. You can do that. But really take, in that small business academy, every week you get a lesson, practical lesson on actually it's all 5 of the P's. We went over 3 of them, but it's all 5. And you really get to learn about your business and how to grow your business, which is, after all, you don't want to learn about growing somebody else's business. You want to grow your own business, whether it's that restaurant or you're a doctor or whatever you are.
I love that you brought up the education part, because and paying for mentorship or paying for coaching, because it's one of those things that we often overlook. We'll pay our cell phone bill, we'll pay for, the groceries, we'll pay for the car payment, but we're expecting ourselves to somehow figure some of this stuff out. Like we're going to have all the answers. Well, that's true. You will figure it out over time, but you're going to step in some holes as you go along. Why not pay to avoid some of those potholes in the road so that you have a smoother road all the way through? And the thing that I love to talk about with the students as well is, it's not that you're chasing the money, you're chasing a skill. You're chasing something that you're going to do on a regular basis. These skills, do you know what skill you need to develop? Should you be focusing your attention on your invoicing and accounting and general ledger? Should you be focusing your attention on your tax savings plans or your tax strategy? Should you be focusing your attention on an LLC or an S Corp? Or what should you be focusing your attention on? This is where proper coaching can help you, because all those things are important. but there's also a pace, there's a step, there's this, you have to work your way through that business plan, and you're not going to know by yourself. And yes, you can Google it. Yes, you can have a lot of YouTube help, but having somebody that you can easily just say, hey, Jeff, I'm stuck. What can I do next? That type of mentorship and training is invaluable. What's been your experience like with your students that come on board?
Well, absolutely. And I'll just give you a few examples. I have a friend of mine. He's brilliant. He was an attorney in New York, really, really smart attorney, really, really smart, exceptional. He said when he graduated from law school, he spent more money on getting an education after law school than he spent in all of law school to run a business, to learn about business. I've got a client right now. He told me, I didn't drive this out of him. I didn't calculate it. He said, Jeff, since I've been working with you, you've been my business coach, my gross profit, he's in retail, medical retail. He said his gross profit has increased 300%. 300%. I'm like, oh my God, that's incredible. I'm just honored. I've got another, this is an insurance agency. They started at the beginning of last year. We all know what happened about March. Pandemic hit. They started in January. They set huge goals last year. I challenged them to set big goals anyway. They hit it out of the water. So this year, they're every week they're beating their goals. And they told me something the other day. For every quote they give, every quote, auto, homeowners, doesn't matter, whatever it is, every quote that they give out that they could possibly get, they've gotten 100% of it. 100%.
That's impressive.
That's
a great
amazing.
ratio.
And it's
it's
not just because of a coach. I mean, they're out there doing it. I'm just pushing them. I'm giving them ideas. I'm challenging them to say, look, yeah, insurance is insurance. You got competition everywhere. You got to be better than them. If you're going to be a restaurant owner, there's restaurants everywhere, all kinds, fast food, high dining. You go in, you got china and silverware, and you got to wear a jacket. I mean, everything in between. If you're going to be a restaurant owner, you got to do it better than the next guy. And how do you do that? Well, it's employees. It's managing that money like you were talking about. It's having a corporation set up. Bill Gates, I think it was Bill Gates, he said here a while back, he said, it was a number of years ago, he said, the number one thing I learned in business, he's speaking in front of a big audience, and everybody's grabbing a pen and a legal pad. They're like, the number one thing this guy's learned in business, I want to get this down. He said, understand the tax code. Most people are like, oh man, that means hiring a CPA.
All volumes after volume.
But understand, you imagine how much he's paid in taxes, but how much he's also saved and how much money he's made. Well, so what? Let's do that ourselves. If we can save, Bill Gates has probably saved millions in taxes. Well, if we can save thousands, that makes a difference. That's another vacation. That's another nicer house. That's another IRA deposit, whatever it may be.
It's funny because people run away from things like that. They don't want to hear the word taxes. They dread filing their return every single year. And when I talk to people who are in business and they're coming to me on April 15th because they know they owe, right, to get their return filed, I'm like, dude, this is all reactive, right? This has already happened. Whatever we're doing today, there's nothing, very little I can do to change the outcome of what has happened in the prior year. When you talk to professionals in the plan part and the profit part, when they're moving into those sections, how much of that has to be proactive? What are they doing to be ahead of the game versus reactive after it's already done?
Well, after the cows got out of the gate, there's not much you can do, So it's if you have an employee that sues you for harassment because you didn't have an employee handbook, which most people don't have, and most people hate to even think about in creating an employee handbook for their business, it's critical. It's a boring thing to do, so why not just get a template, modify it for yourself? But you have to plan. You have to work ahead. After it's already happened, you might be screwed. I mean, there may not be an opportunity to rebound from that.
Man, when we get into business, we don't often know some of those pitfalls that are coming up. There are common mistakes that end up happening. 9 out of 10 businesses are going to fail within that first year. What are some of the common mistakes that you see business owners making that you help coach out of?
I would probably say there's probably 3 or 4. One of them is they try to cut corners. They don't try to do things right, especially on the accounting side. They commingle funds. They don't have things nice and clean. Then when it comes to hiring somebody, they don't have job descriptions, and then they get an employee, expect them to figure it out. I saw a business owner just the other day, his first 2 months of business, his net profit was over $1 million. Net profit. Ooh. Over $1 million, 2 months. And he hired some people, and he didn't really give them good direction. And now they're sitting around the office. I don't know if you can see this. They're twiddling their thumbs because they haven't gotten direction because he's so dang busy trying to add another million. And, you really got to think about, all right, well, let's plan ahead a little bit. If we're, let's walk through a process. Now, I walk people through a process. Normally, the purpose, the plan, the profit, and the other parts, but maybe it doesn't go that way for them. Maybe, they've got some investors and we need to look at profit first, or maybe they just got a market because, they've got tremendous competition. But let's start with a process. Let's start with some type of roadmap that says, this is where we want to go. This is where we're at now. And this is how we're going to get there. So I would say part of the biggest issue is most people just get into this thing, they wing it, and then they end up as that statistic of most people don't make it in business. I can think of a business owner in the town I'm in. He's in the air conditioning business. And they're going so hard and so fast right now because building is booming that he's skipping some steps. He's not really laying a good, strong foundation. So if anything ever takes a downward turn, good luck to him. I'll be there. I'll be there saying, hey, are you ready now? And he'll definitely say, yeah, I need to talk to you, But that's it. Just, people just got to take it step by step. That's where that Small Business Academy comes in so well, I think, is because it gives them that foundation, that education. Because once they get the education, I think Donald Trump said this, once you get an education, nobody can take that back from you.
Yep.
They may take your house, your car, your business, they may come in and confiscate a lot of things or whatever, you might have to file bankruptcy. But everything that you put in your brain, every bit of it, you can reuse that.
Yeah, it's 100% yours. That's the power of an education. Whether it's a college degree or it's just like what you were talking about, reading books. As you were discussing the different types of jobs, I was thinking of a classic. Michael Gerber's E-Myth, a great book to pick up and just kind of get an idea of how businesses operate, how to create a chain of command or an organizational structure so that you can start putting these types of job descriptions together and kind of replace yourself. Because right now the way you're describing it, that's the chief cook and bottle cleaner, right? This is the person doing every single thing every single part of your business, but you start replacing certain sections, you start replacing it with certain systems, so then the employees that come in can handle those types of systems and run your business the right way. Otherwise, you are going to have employees like you described, just twiddling those thumbs, sitting back, because it's a lack of instruction, it's a lack of direction that the person at the top is giving them. So the other thing is, we have to take action at some point. Like at some point, you have to take a step forward and actually go out and make a phone call, pick up the phone, make that sale. One of the things you have to do when it comes to business is reach out and see if you need help. So I want to encourage people to take action and go to the website, purposeplanprofit.com. And Jeff, before we head out, really quick, I know we kind of covered it throughout the show, but what are they going to find and how can they get a hold of you?
Well, let me give you my direct number. If somebody says, I don't want to go to a website, call my direct line, 772-226-0723, 772-226-0723. You can go to the website, top right corner says schedule a free coaching session, you can click on that. The phone number, of course, is there. Or if you want to say, you know what, I want to enroll in the Small Business Academy, or I want to check out the coaching services that you offer. It's all right there. It's very easy. Call me. We can talk about it. My goal is to be able to help people. And I thank you for letting me be here to share my vision, my message, because it's a little different. My passion is different. How I do it is different. I'm a little bit blunt. I'm a little bit strong, because I want to see people accomplish what they want to accomplish. And if I have to grab them by the hand and pull them along or kick them in the seat of the pants, then I will, because that's really going to get them where they want to go.
That's exactly right. And just to clarify, you are in Florida, but you can help people around the country, right? Technology has allowed us to do that.
Oh yeah, I've worked with 300 or 400 organizations, some outside the country, all over the United States. And that doesn't bother me, because a lot of what I'll do with them is either on a phone or a video conference. And if we, depending on what their needs are, we might do it on site. I do it all the time. So it could be that I jump on an airplane and fly to St. Louis or Detroit or wherever they happen to be, in their business, or they fly to sunny Florida because it's cold in Detroit or St. Louis, and we can meet that way.
Well, awesome. Thank you very much, Jeff, for coming on the show and sharing. I mean, it sounds simple. It is simple. It's not easy. It's going to take work, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, let's face it. Nothing that we're talking about is just a snap of a button and that's it. It's fixed. And Jeff is not a miracle worker. He's not your fairy godmother. He's not going to sprinkle some, ingredients over you and poof, you're going to be successful business. It takes the work. It takes the effort. He's there to guide you. He's there to help you. He's there to show you the ropes of what it takes to have a successful business. But in the end, it's going to take you getting off your butt off the couch and taking some action. So start with going to the website, purposeplanprofit.com. At the very least, head over there, check out what's on there, re-listen. If something triggered you, then go ahead and click that little button on the upper right-hand corner, schedule a conference. It's a free consultation. So at the very least, you're going to understand where you're at. You're going to see if you and Jeff jive, and you go from there. It takes action.
Absolutely.
Jeff, thank you very much for coming on the show, man. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun, and I appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gents, that's it for Friday. You guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you again on the other side of the week. Peace out, y'all.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the Business Bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the Insurance Bro, Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation, or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.